busy, but that's not his fault. The holiday special is my favorite, but I don't think it counts as a movie variety show. But you know what? Was it your, my friend Tiny Aphrodite actually also said that same thing, because it was her first true introduction to Star Wars. So I guess if you didn't watch it in the theaters and you were just first exposed to it, right? It'd be that. Okay, my friends, I said I was not gonna do too much preamble, and then I totally did too much preamble. So let's see how far we get in this read, Avengers vs. X-Men. It's 2:49 right now a.m. and I'm gonna go till 3:33 a.m. and we'll just see how far we get. Okay, and then we'll continue this on another time. So, A versus X. I love you, Cap, though. Cap is my favorite Avenger, I gotta say. So let's see here. This is a compilation of comic books, right? So whenever you get these bigger books, they're usually a compilation of like smaller episodic books in between. But it's good because it's like one of those things where you don't have to wait, like streaming, you don't have to wait for the next episode. I'm going to take off my gloves to read this to you guys. So, okay. Thanks you guys for joining me. Welcome. Okay. And also typically these books give you like a calling card of everyone who's involved. Okay, so we're on the planet, I don't even know what this planet is. The planet Birj, B-I-R-J. The throne room in Capital City, 80,000 light years from Earth, yesterday. For the billionth time, Terax, I came here to warn you. More like bring the entire Nova Corps down on me. Do it then. No! I'll mount each of their heads in the Great Hall alongside the pathetic Science Council and royal family who opposed me here. You've got it all wrong, you stone-faced freak. Terax is never wrong. The lost Jabba footage makes a lot of the movie unfamiliar. Okay. Which movie are you watching right now, Implant Bang? They did a lot. I was watching a YouTube video about how much George Lucas changed the films from the initial cut that went out in theaters. Like, for example, like having Jabba, a scene, like, who shot first? Greedo or Han Solo? I mean, you can't have Han Solo shoot Greedo in cold blood, right? So, I love the first Star Wars too, though. A New Hope, my English teacher in grade 10 had us watch A New Hope in school to study the hero's journey, which was kind of cool. Okay. It's a great example of the hero's journey, though, as well. Okay. Welcome to my life. There's a first time for everything. What is the meaning of this? I control this planet down to its last grain of sand. I warned you. Now help me get as many of your people off this world as we can. I will never retreat. I was the herald of Galactus. I fear nothing. Oh no, yeah, Han Solo doing all new scenes and everything. Like, it's when you add scenes like that, it's crazy though, because I do a lot of video editing, right? And in the cut, in what you choose to leave in or take out, you can literally change a whole movie, right? So I can't imagine, because like Stanley Kubrick, for example, used to take like 5 million cuts for things, to probably psychologically torture his actors, but can you imagine what it'd be like to edit that? You have to go through like freaking like 20, 30 cuts of every scene and then have to like pick the best one. It's such a tedious process. They just added CGI and some deleted scenes in the 90s. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff I feel like they changed and stuff. Like for example, the Force Ghosts. Having the Force Ghost look like Anakin and Obi-Wan from like the initial trilogy, right? Things like that to bring some continuity. Also, I loved watching the Clone Wars, the animated version, and there was a lot in that I thought they did really well. They didn't change it, the story, though. Yeah, generally speaking, the story stays the same. Like, small nuances, like, as I said, like, who shot first, Han Solo or Greedo, just to, but Han Solo is an anti-hero. I don't think it's the worst thing if he shot first. And they tried to add in, like, a new scene so that, no, I'm thinking of someone else who added in their own scene to be like, well, Greedo betrayed Han way back in the day, so by the time they come to the Cantino, Greedo had it coming. Okay. So this guy is saying he's the Herald of Galactus and he fears nothing. Yeah, well, this is more like something that would make Galactus fudge his pants. Oh, interesting. It's too late. Flee, coward. I will make war with any being in the universe. And this guy flies off. He's like, okay, well, good luck with that. I'm out. Bye. All those people, epic fail. And then, I don't know, I guess he's the Phoenix? Hope they give us some context soon here. So, have to get help. Everybody's got to know. The Phoenix, it's coming. Oh. Maybe that's what's going on. He's flying through the cosmos and he comes across the Phoenix. So it is interesting here. That's related to, like, the origin of the Phoenix Force, where it's in the dying moments of the previous universe. And I've read you guys the history of the entire Marvel universe, where Galactus is telling a story to Franklin Richards, because Galactus passes on the mantle of recreating the new, that's Nova. Okay, thanks, Voice of One. I'm like, who is this? I'm not familiar with him as a character, so I'll have to do some research. But let's see here. The Force was subsequently reborn from the cosmic fires of the Big Bang. Later, it encountered the malevolent La Bête Noire and trapped it in the center of a still cooling planet Earth. The Force was drawn back to Earth when it was awakened to reality by Pharaon, a sorcerer from an alternate Earth who had traveled with his master Necrom to a tower on Earth 616 to witness an alignment of dimensional interfaces. The Force joined with Pharaon, allowing itself to be shaped by his dreams into the form of a giant fiery bird and experiencing a spectrum of new sensations. At the moment of the alignment, Pharaon bade the Force to project the essence of the tower throughout the multiverse so that it existed on every plane of reality simultaneously, creating an energy matrix. Necrom sought to access the matrix to allow him to compress all alternate Earths into a singularity, the energy released from which would endow him with godlike power, and to that end he tore out the portion of the Force that had bonded to the Pharaon. In agonized confusion over the violation of its essence, the Force fled. Necrom bound the stolen Force with a portion of his own essence and left it to incubate in a corpse he dubbed the Anti-Phoenix. Well, that's nefarious. Do you guys know what the Anti-Phoenix? Who is this guy, Necrom? Oh, I feel bad for you, Phoenix. Okay. In time, the Force's pain subsided and it discovered that it was unable to return to its natural state. Hundreds of years later, the Force learned that the universe would come under threat under the manipulation of the Macron crystal, the hypercubical nexus of realities, by the Mad Shi'ar Emperor Deken. To prevent this, the Force sought an avatar through which it could act and so return to Earth, seeking out Pharaon. Instead, the Force encountered Jean Grey, a member of the heroic mutant X-Men team whose mind the Force had touched earlier. Grey was dying from the effects of solar radiation while piloting a damaged space shuttle to save her fellow X-Men. The Force appeared to Grey and offered to save her. She accepted, and so the Force created an exact duplicate of her body for itself, into which it transferred a portion of her consciousness. The Force then sealed her comatose body inside a healing cocoon, and after the shuttle crashed into Jamaica Bay near New York City, the Force emerged from the waters, calling itself Phoenix. The X-Men believed it to be the real Jean Grey, having died and returned to life with vast new powers. Phoenix and the X-Men opposed Diken, who exposed the universe to the tremendous gravitational forces contained within the crystal's core. Phoenix entered the crystal and repaired the stasis field, thus saving the cosmos. Phoenix continued to serve as a member of the X-Men, but ultimately its human form was unable to cope with the Force's immense power. At first, Grey's strong moral sense kept the Force in check, but the Phoenix succumbed to the psionic manipulation of Mastermind. Unable to fully free itself of the sinister side of the personality that Wingrade had exposed it to, and with its human consciousness ill-equipped to repress it, the Force's primal urges overwhelmed Phoenix, causing it to become the malevolent Dark Phoenix. Due to the limitations of its physical form, Dark Phoenix hungered for more energy and transported itself to the star Debari, absorbing all the energy. As a result, the star turned supernova, annihilating one of its planets. And this is what Jean Grey has penance for in one of the comic books, destroying a whole world. Dark Phoenix destroyed a starship which had attacked it in retaliation for the Debari deaths, then returned to Earth where it opposed the X-Men and Professor Xavier. He reinforced Grey's personality, allowing Phoenix to reject its cosmic power. So that's interesting because this Phoenix is not actually Jean, right? So she clones her and puts her in a healing cocoon. So that's, wow, that's like so confusing to go into, but it was good that I reread that because how Jean Grey first interfaces with the Phoenix is a big deal, right? This concept of resurrection and how it is achieved is not necessarily quite so simple as like, oh, look, now I'm alive again, right? Okay. See here. Who is the dude from Blackest Night? I'm not sure. How could they lose the footage? My dad still has it on tape. That's why you need to keep everything on tape and have analog things of stuff, like streaming video games, right? So for example, I wanted to stream Gotham Knights for you guys as Batgirl. Then when I went on my Game Pass, I found out that they had removed Gotham Knights from Game Pass. And I was like, I'm not going to spend $90 to play a game that I literally was playing just now. What the heck? So like this, but I have all of the Halo games on disc. Right? So, you know, if the Master Chief Collection, for whatever reason, gets removed, I still have all the old Halo, like, discs, like Halo ODST, Halo Reach, Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, 3, 4. I did not do Halo. Everything after Halo 5, I don't really play. I don't really play Halo Infinite just because I feel like the game engine feels like Quake. It doesn't, I don't know, like, when you're playing first person, you're very immersed, so it doesn't feel like Halo. My sister says, she's like, you're just old, Rachel. I'm like, shut up. The original trilogy on VHS. Yes. Bring me that VHS. Love you guys. Okay, also, I love all those movies where it's like an anthology of like VHS tapes. So good, you guys. There's VHS 1985. I was born in 1985, but it's actually a great, like, if you're into horror, I like it, because the VHS itself also already looks creepy. It's like why black and white films already seem, like, more scary than non-black and white films. I own everything on DVD except for the Disney trilogy. Yeah, it's good to have it, like, all analog, because, you know, when the grid goes down, we're all going to need to have things on analog and disc, you know? Think of like Escape from LA at the end with Snake Plissken, you know, it's like by human error. Like, I worked in digital for a very long time, you guys, and my dad was a prof in computer science. I know tech. My sis like builds video games and stuff, so I have a very bad feeling about what's coming on the greater system world stage as it comes to tech. So I feel like not all tech is bad, right? Taking this back to Dune, and we're going to read some Dune tomorrow, you know, the Butlerian Jihad, the, like, no thinking machines, but, like, what about R2-D2? You know, like, if you think of Star, like, when I was studying A New Hope in school, and we're talking about Darth Vader, you know, like Anakin, like the war within us between man and machine, because when Anakin is like, you know, maimed and like nearly killed, he's put back together again, but he's like becomes Darth Vader, right? But where is Anakin and where is Darth Vader? And this concept of your own shadow side and this more mechanical side and the more logical machinations of it and less emotional part of it. And think about it, like R2-D2 is tech too, but like, did Anakin build R2-D2 or was it Luke? I have to remember, but like the droids and stuff, right? So it's just a matter of tech and wielding tech. The issue, like in Terminator with Skynet, is when you give away, like when I used to work in digital project management, we couldn't automate any of our UI tests. As much as good as the tools were, you still needed a human consciousness to go in and do like a final check. And so with Skynet, like the big thing was when Skynet controlled all of the weapons systems across the globe. And then when human beings finally like, okay, we're going to give up all of our control and decision making and just make it all automated. That's where things went wrong. So who built R2-D2? Oh, yes. Yeah, Anakin built C-3PO. R2 is from the Naboo Royal Navy. Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for reminding me. AI for sentient requires quantum computing, in my opinion. I agree with you, Wolveraza, because when I went to, when I was entrenched in digital, I went to quite a few conferences here in Toronto, and I went to the Toronto Technical Conference. What a joke. This was back in the day. And, no, not that conference. I'm thinking the Microsoft conference. I went to a Microsoft conference and they were talking about AI, and the guy literally said, AI is just a marketing term for machine learning, and your machine learning is only as good as A, your data set, and B, your algorithms. And your algorithms, like as someone who has worked with algorithms in terms of diabetes and working out, you know, like diabetes, if your blood sugar is too high for too long, like the app will send you like a trigger. So all those things are algorithmically created, but you need to test and retest them, because when you get new data sets and new things, you need to go in and just make sure that things are still working as expected. You can't just set it and forget it. That's a lovely thought, but you still need to have someone there to like oversee things. You can make things easier for yourself, but you still need to keep human consciousness in there, right? Let's see here. Thanks, you guys. Oh, you guys, so you know what though? I love Naboo. I think about like all the planets. I love Queen Amidala. I love Naboo. I would live there. That and Endor. Favorite planets. You guys have a favorite planet you would live on. My hubby loves Tatooine because he's from Malta, and I feel like he feels like Tatooine and Malta are very similar. Like those, if you're like a desert dry, like I think what I love about sci-fi is the allegory of planets, right? This concept of like Dune, Arrakis. If you are someone who is born of a certain planet, like me being born in the prairies, I'm like from a prairie planet. So you are also then embedded with certain characteristics of that land, like no different than if you were born on a mountain or like near the sea or things like that. These are all things that illustrate and provide depth to your own personal character. AI pretty old. They put in road test. Wow. Oh, wow. Input every time I ask it, someone just shows me a Google search. Oh my goodness. It's so funny. I remember Netscape Navigator, and like back in the day, it's like so crazy. Like these search engines and this concept of search, that's all done algorithmically as well, right? And also like this concept of like these search engines thinking that like they know you and try to like, oh, did you really mean to search for this? No, I didn't freaking mean to search for that. Just do what I tell you. I love the ice planets. Also would love it there. Ooh, Donovan, that's an interesting one. There's always a nice ice planet. Full disclosure, I always love the space outfits on the ice planets. You know, the cute little space suits and like yeah, I don't know. I always like those ones. Spice as fuel to a biological system for inner self struggle. Yes. 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 Yeah. So we'll get into Dune tomorrow. I have a really strong connection to the Bene Gesserit. I literally went to school with Mother Superiors and stuff. We didn't do training like that. But the concept of spice and what spice represents, right? We already have tools in our world that help to expand your consciousness. So if we are able to then use those tools in a very directed way, like Mother Raquella, who was the first Reverend Mother of the Bene Gesserit, she was the first to discover that spice also increased the immune system, right? So spice extends life. So the way that spice interfaces with the human body, that's what allows human beings to upgrade, right? So you don't need thinking machines. Which ice planet? The one with the wampas or the giant spiders? Oh, it's funny. The planet Titan. Oceans of hydrocarbons without dinosaurs. Oh my goodness. You guys have more eclectic tastes than I do. I just need like nice climate. Like for example, like in Dune, the home planet of the Atreides. I forget what it's called. But when they have to go from there to Arrakis, oh my gosh, I would be so choked. I'm like, I am not why? Planet Moon. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's continue, friends. Okay. So this Nova, now that I know that it's Nova, is going to warn everyone that Phoenix is coming. The Phoenix is coming. And so now the planet Burj, 80,000 light years from Earth, and now this is tomorrow. I don't know what that is. It's a cool panel though. Ooh. I kind of like that. Look at that. I love these like kind of, I want to recreate some of these. Scarlet Witch and I think that's Hope, perhaps. Let's see. Okay. Do we have a clear shot? The Wakandan ambassador is escorting. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of words. Hold on. Blah, blah, blah. Let me begin again. The Wakandan ambassador is escorting Dr. Udaku in his overstuffed motorcade and is en route to the Pentagon as we speak. Then the word is given. Proceed. Proceeding with caution, obviously. Target in sight. Proceed. The Secret Service sees us. Good. I want them to see us. I want them to see every second. Holy. Oh, and then chaos ensues, and then it's Modokai. Modokai? I told you, no one escapes the conclave of AIM. No one escapes. Spend your last breath with some sort of honor. No? Let them see what happens when a scientist of AIM betrays his brothers. Let them see what happens when someone tries to sell our secrets. Let the world see that Modok will not allow it. Modok. Do you know who that is? I don't know who that is. Mordecai? Okay, thank you. Because they're the way that it looks, I'm just like, I'm assuming there's a way to say it. But then again, I blame all of my mispronunciations on the fact that I had foreign parents that didn't speak English as a first language. So there you go. Mordecai. That sounds right, though. Okay. Come out, Dr. Udako. Or Udaku, sorry. Spend your last minutes as a man. Fine with me. Burn. What? Why am I misfiring? How could I possibly be misfiring? Oh, maybe because you have a Scarlet Witch affecting the structure of reality. Let's see. And she's here. I mean, if I appeared on the scene, I would also pose like this, perhaps. And she says, surrender, or I'll make you. And she powers up. I love it. Go get him, Wanda. Ah, what is this? Who are you? Wait, I know you. You're the Scarlet Witch, the disgraced Avenger. My goodness, the rumors that I have heard. I was asking Arya this too when I had the Dark Phoenix and Scarlet Witch talking to each other. I'm like, is Scarlet an X-Men or an Avenger? But it's interesting because she's a daughter of Magneto, but she's an Avenger. And in this case, a disgraced one at that. The rumor was that you'd lost your mind and turned on the Avengers. No. You're going to talk a lot, aren't you? Rumor has it you're the reason that the mutants are no longer a concern. Please, I am begging you. If I wanted to hear a crazy monologue, I'd move back in with my father. Wanda. Attack! Magneto's baby girl needs to learn to stay in her place. Oh my gosh, I love that little line there. Speaking of Magneto, like if I wanted a big lecture about all this, I would have just moved in with my dad. Thanks very much. You should have stayed hidden under whatever rock you came from. I wonder, dear, if there's some sort of reward for your head. It would seem you did more to hurt the world than any of us so-called. End this quickly. We don't want to have to break every broken hero lining up. Oh, look, we've got more heroes coming in. Broken? Who's broken? Me. I'm a little broken. Spider-Woman. Oh, I love her. I wish they would do her more. I used to read comic books about her way back in the day. What's her name again? Something Drew? Do you guys remember? I know, I love it. The artwork's nice, right? And this looks like it could be Miss Marvel, too. So, hey. Okay. Broken. Who's broken? I'm a little broken. Boom. I won't lie to you, ladies. I kind of needed this. So they're kind of beating the crap out of this guy, and it's almost like therapy. Jessica Drew. Yes. I love that name, too. Voice of One. I'm going to do a Jessica Drew cosplay. I like her. I like this outfit, too. Is she related to the Spider-Verse? Or, I'm going to just do a quick little... It's been a while since I used to read comic books just about her specifically. Spider-Woman, created by Archie Goodwin and Marie Severin. Let's see. She's cool. I like her outfit too. When Jessica Drew was about a year old, her parents moved from England to a small cottage in the outskirts of Wundagore Mountain in... Where the heck is this? Transia? Where? Okay, it's in Europe too. I'm not even familiar. Her father, Jonathan Drew, geneticist and research partner to the man who would later become the High Evolutionary, found large amounts of uranium in their property, which gave them the financial resources to build a research facility. Let's see. Oh, wow. This has a whole other Citadel of Science. Okay, I need to do... That's a whole separate thing. Jessica Drew and Spider-Woman. She's more Spider-Man adjacent. That's a good way to... Genetic tampering. Wow. She's got a whole other backstory, which deals with like genetic and... There's some... We gotta look at that. That's a separate thing we need to look at. But it's kind of cool that these three ladies have all teamed up. Scarlet Witch, Spider-Woman, and I think this is Miss Marvel. She had a lot more X-Men crossovers earlier. That must be what I must first read her. Because, you guys, when I first started reading comic books, it was Avengers and X-Men. Marvel comic books. MODOK. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's keep going, guys. Just because I've like 12 minutes left and I really didn't get through as much as I wanted to of this. But we'll be back. We'll be back on Friday at least. Tomorrow I'm going to go back to DC. We're going to bring back Supergirl. I have a new Supergirl cosplay to reveal to you guys. The white shirt Supergirl. And I'm working on a Mary Marvel as well because they're kind of besties. They're friends. Modem. I missed it. Yeah, this is really... Let's see who actually did this. It's a series, right? So I think a few of them have different... Oh, this will be fun because there's actually different illustrators and script writers for pieces of this whole story. So point 1, the writer is Jeff Loeb, penciler is Ed McGuinness, inker is Dexter Vines, colors is Maury Hollowell, and cover art Adam Kubert and Maury Hollowell. I love the whole fact that there's a team whenever it comes to this. So each series, so point 1, we're gonna hopefully finish point 1. We'll see. But it's interesting to note that the illustrations and those who are involved, like look at this. There's some cool panels in here later on. I'm not gonna skip ahead. Cover art is always pushed. Yeah, sometimes it is just fun to hang. And you guys, I will tell you this. As far as Astro goes, like whether or not you understand the astrology or what's going on in the stars, the energies at hand right now are super spicy. Your dream world, everything is going to change in the next, like Pluto's in Aquarius. I've been like talking about this for forever. And so now that it's here, it's this level of like, whoa, like what does it mean to live in the future? To live in the future that our ancestors dreamed about, to be a being in it, right? So there's a lot in comic books. Comic books are a creation of this century, right? Of the 19th century, but they have a lot in common with things like hieroglyphics, where you have multi-meanings and like just the images themselves, even if you just like look at this, you're already getting a certain type of information without me even reading it, right? So I'm hoping I am doing my soul mission by helping to share the stories that have like impacted me, because the more that we can share our stories and our inner worlds and share with each other our glossary of terms, we can just understand each other a little bit more and help us bridge the gap to when we get to telepathy and we get to a point where we can actually like, I can show you a hologram of my mind of what I really mean. And then, you know, the amount of times we get like fights and disagreements and arguments happen just because of miscommunication, right? Because we're using a term that maybe the other person already has a preloaded trigger or anything with it, right? Or any of these kinds of things. Or like people like, you guys are funny. Okay, let's keep going, and I'm going to try to power through for the next 10 minutes. Okay. You dare, Zada. Shut it. Killer save, Scarlet. You still got it. Wanda? Wanda. Oh my gosh, it is Carol Danvers. So funny, right? Supergirl's alter ego's name is Kara Danvers, and Miss Marvel's like secret identity is Carol Danvers. It's just funny. Wanda, it's me, Carol Danvers. You remember Spider-Woman, don't you? Hey. I thought I could handle this all on my own. What are you talking about? Job well done. Guess I'm a little rusty. I guess I'm not ready yet. Hey, where are you going? It's good to see you, Carol. You look good. Healthy. Where are you going? I'll see you around. Wait. Hold on. You're coming back to the mansion with us. Oh, no. Oh, of course. Come on. No, I'm not ready for that yet. Ready for what? Your friends? Everyone's been worried about you. Just come back and say hello and get your hugs and let everyone know you're okay. I just think I'm better off flying solo for a while. That's fine. Just come say hi. I really don't think. You do get the whole I'm not taking no for an answer part, right? Carol. So this version also of Captain Marvel, I'm also working on this cosplay. Because I don't know how, like, in the movies, you just jumped right into Captain Marvel being Captain Marvel. There's this whole, like, Miss Marvel, and this whole Miss Marvel costume, too. So, we'll get there. Don't worry, friends. Okay, Avengers Mansion. I thought when she was talking about the mansion at first that she was talking about the X-Men mansion, but I guess Carol Danvers is not an X-Men, right? Okay. This is a terrible idea. Everyone's been worried about you. Everyone will be very happy to see you. But hey, once an Avenger, always an Avenger. Just come and say hello. Seriously, you should see how they... And then I guess this is Vision flying out. And of course, Vision and Wanda. And then Wanda looks at Vision wistfully, saying, Vision. Shazam. What are you doing here, Wanda? I thought it would be nice if everybody... I am talking to my wife. Okay, Vision, that's a little... Nice way to greet your wife there, buddy. I'm talking to my wife. Why did you come here? And when Wanda just gives this sad look, and Vision looks back at her. I have empathy for all of your life struggles, and I have empathy for the many manipulations that you may have endured. But what I do not have compassion for or understanding for is the idea that when you were at your lowest point, you chose, out of the millions of choices and variables in front of you, you chose to overpower me and use my body as a weapon against my friends and my home. Wow, Wanda. I guess you're right up there with me in how we use power. Sakamano, if you want to learn about Astro, I would say just look up. I like the calculator AstroSeek, so Astro-Seek. Just look that up. There's many different astrology calculators out there. Put your birth date in and just start there by looking at where your planets are positioned. And so specifically your sun, moon, and rising sign. Because your sun sign, right? Like I'm a Taurus, but my moon is in Gemini and I'm an Aries rising. So I also have Mercury and Venus in Aries. So I really vibe a lot with that energy of fire and initiatory, even though I'm a Taurus and I love naps. So all of these things is just to say, like, that you are not like every other individual that shares your same sun sign because of all these other infinite variables that make up the uniqueness of who you are. So I would start with like your moon sign first, because your moon sign represents your subconscious, your inner child, and look at, like for me, like having a moon in Gemini with a sun in Taurus, that balance between the two sometimes can feel crazy because like Taurus is all about like slow and steady wins the race. But sometimes my emotional mental world is like in 5 million different places at once. So it's like in me to kind of synthesize and alchemize to resolve that, right? And sometimes you have your sun and moon in the same sign. And what that can bring with it is that when it comes to certain aspects, like if I were to have my moon in Taurus as well as my sun, that would probably give me more challenges when it comes to being flexible, right? Because Taurus is a very fixed earth sign. So I already have issues trying to change direction. But my Gemini moon softens that. So it's just cool for you to kind of look at that in yourself, and like that whole concept of like know thyself, and knowing yourself is such power, right? Like look at it as like even superheroes. Like, can you imagine if Wanda thought that she could do what Spider-Woman does, or Spider-Woman is trying to behave like Vision, or all these kinds of things. Like, no, because your specific gifts are yours alone, and you may have similarities with others, but no one's going to be you, right? And so to figure all that out is a journey of yourself, and you can have mentors and guides along the way, but no one's going to be able to tell you who you are. No different than how no one can tell you what your favorite flavor of ice cream is, right? Like, it's something like, well, your favorite flavor is vanilla. I'm like, no, it's not. And you don't get to tell me that. I get to say that. And I can change my mind if I want, right? So it's all that to kind of consider when it comes to knowing yourself, at least like from my opinion. Okay, let's keep going. So Vision's mad at Wanda for some heinous stuff that she did. But remember, she was in a dark place. I think even like the events of, I never watched the show WandaVision, but it goes into that same place with like magic users. Because this is so intertwined with your emotional state, there's so much work to be had to be able to wield your emotions and your inner world with a bit more finesse, because that inner world becomes the external world very easily. And so if you're having a temper tantrum, that temper tantrum can actually destroy whole universes, right? So just be aware of that. It could be if you had not tried it. Skynet, can you repeat what that was referred to? Referring to? Interesting name too, Skynet. Okay, so let's see here. You chose to overpower me and use my body as a weapon against my friends and my home. That I cannot forgive. And then Wanda looks back at him saying, you're right. And everyone's staring at Wanda. And she stands there. And I'm like, Carol Danvers, like, I think Wanda knew that she was going to have this kind of reception. But Carol's like, no, everyone misses you. But then she's there and she says, I'm sorry. This is not your home anymore, says Vision. You don't belong here. And then Iron Man's like, hey, Vision, come on. If that's why you came here, if that's what you came here to discover, now you know. Yes, I already knew. And Miss Marvel's like, wow, Vision, could you be any more of a, this is not your concern, he says. And Carol takes Wanda in her arms and flies her away. She's like, I didn't expect for you guys to be so heinous about this. And Iron Man looks at Vision. He's like, little rough on her, weren't you? His call. I know. I get it. I just always liked them together. Me too, Tony. Me too. And now at Utopia, which is the island home of the X-Men, off the coast of San Francisco. All right, then. This looks like, I wonder who this is. I guess it'll reveal itself. She'll reveal herself sooner enough. It's a redhead, though. Could be Jean, could be Rachel, could be Hope. Let's see. All right, then. Let's try not to hit any buildings this time. This has to stop, Hope. It's Hope. Whatever the hell this is, it has to stop. Fine, okay, you can have your stupid jetpack back. You know that's not what I'm talking about. Although, yes, I would like my jetpack back. You've been sneaking out every night for almost a week now. Did you really think I wouldn't notice? I let it slide at first, hoping you would come to your senses. I wasn't doing anything wrong, you know. Then why are you sneaking around in the middle of the night? Because I knew you'd act exactly like you're acting right now. All I do is fly around. There are times I just need to clear my head. That's not all you do. 2 muggers were beaten half to death in the tenderloin last night. What's the tenderloin? That sounds funny. I was saying, like, yes, Cable's daughter, and she's a big key to how the X-Men achieve resurrection. So, very interesting how all those genetic codes together create a condition, whereas resurrection makes itself possible, right? And I love her name, Hope. All you need is a little hope, right? I like that name too, actually. Cable and whose daughter is who's Hope's mother? Do you know, voice? I'm sure you know this, Voice of One. Or is she like a weird kind of clone baby too? Okay. Or is it another, like, because Cable is Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor's son, right? So I'm assuming there's another little match up there that makes Hope very powerful. And she's got her 2 guns too, I kind of like. Okay, so 2 muggers were beaten half to death in the Tenderloin last night. The night before that, a paroled child molester in Corona Heights had his legs broken. Tell me you don't know anything about that, or that there's not a police scanner strapped to your belt. Oh, protecting a world that hates and fears us. Isn't that our job? Not when it means needlessly putting yourself in danger. Oh, and here I thought this place was called Utopia. Funny name for a prison. Now you're just being childish. You've never been a prisoner here, Hope. You know that. But you also know how dangerous it is for you to be out here on your own. You are too big of a target. Captain Louise Spaulding is her mother. Oh, she's a badass then. Love that. You're too important to everyone here, and most especially me. I can take care of myself. I'm not the delicate little flower that you seem to think I am. No, you're not. You're the mutant messiah. Wow. A lot of big shoes to fill there. You're the one who brought us back from the brink of extinction. You're the one mutant in all the world that we can't afford to lose. But why? Hope. No, for once, tell me the why and the how. How am I different from any other mutant out here? All I've done my whole life is run from people who are trying to kill me, and then I turn around and someone tells me how amazing I am. Why? What makes me so special? Everything. That's not an answer. I want the truth. Just tell me, please. Tell me about the Phoenix. How did you hear about the... I know more than you think. I do. I know it's some big-time cosmic firebird, and I know it's coming for me. Just like it came years ago for your wife, Jean. I know everybody gets crazy scared whenever it's even mentioned, most especially you. So, would you like to tell me what happens when it gets here? Cyclops thinks, and Cyclops is always the guy being like, your safety, be careful, etc. That's what I thought. Hope, wait. So wouldn't that make Scott Summers Hope's grandfather? That's crazy. Okay. That's what I thought. Hope, wait. If you won't tell me, I'm going to find my own answers. All units, 10:30 in progress at the Isotope Bank and Trust, 326 Fell Street. Don't you even think about it. Don't you even think about trying to stop me. Hope, just listen, please. No, you listen. Cyclops, stop trying to tell Chicas what to do. You know, they're going to do what they want. You wanted to come along as backup? That's fine. And so she pushes Cyclops away from stopping her from going out on her little renegade mission. Whoosh. Well, that probably could have gone a little better. And she's out. Hope's journal. Tonight I shot Cyclops with his own eye blasts. It felt good. He just doesn't get it. I spent 15 years of my life on the run. Does Scott now expect me to just sit in a corner and wait for him to tell me what to do? I am tired of waiting. I'm tired of being left in the dark. Everybody always tells me I'm special. I'm this. I'm that. And sometimes I have no idea who or what the hell I am. Whoops, must have slipped. All I know is that I have to figure out that part out for myself. And that's true. That's every coming of age thing. I think every struggle every parent has, right? Where your child, you want them to learn, but it's like, but I went through all this horrible stuff, so I just want to protect you. But there's nothing that is a replacement for lived experience, right? So there's that. We have the place surrounded. We are ready to hear your demands. Just do not hurt the hostages. So Hope went out to the bank. She followed that call, even though Scott was like, don't go. And she's like, I'm going to go. I don't care. I was raised in the future by the bravest man I have ever known. Cable, the ultimate soldier. He taught me everything I know. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, Hannah, with Eric Bana and that little girl that he trains. That kind of reminds me of Hope. Like this little girl who like received all this training from like a complete badass. So like now you're, of course, a badass, right? I love the soundtrack in them. I'm going to rewatch Hannah. It's a good movie. I recommend it, you guys. Okay. I was raised in the future by the bravest man I ever knew, Cable, the ultimate soldier. He taught me everything I know, which is always just enough to get me into trouble. Whoa, as a mutant, I sure hate to judge someone based solely on appearance, but something tells me that you're one of the bad guys. Sometimes you gotta trust your hunches. Seems like a bad guy, right? The Professional, too. Oh, I love The Professional. Leon, The Professional with Natalie Portman. That's good. I love that one, too. Cable also... Padme, which I refer to as Padme, is in that movie. Cable also has a son, Tyler, a.k.a. Mr. Tolivier, Deadpool's first boss, a.k.a. Genesis. Oh, a clone Strife. So not even Strife, a clone of Strife. Tell you, Marvel does love their clones, right? Okay. Whump. What the hell was that? What? I heard something. Like a whump. Cops might be trying to break in the back. Bushmaster can handle them. Cottonmouth, how's that door coming? Bushmaster? I thought she was like questioning that name. I don't know if I like that name. It's a hero, like my superhero. Well, I guess it's a villain name. My super villain name is Bushwhacker. Bushmaster? No, that sounds even worse. Bushwhacker, I think, is wrestlers. Bushmaster is this guy. And so she's asking, is everything all right back there? I like her outfit, even though she's a bad guy. Crack. Gah, what the hell? Hands in the air, or snake arms, or whatever the hell you got. Boy, the superheroes just get younger and younger these days, don't they? What are you, the new kid from the Power Pack or something? Run home, little girl. Leave while you still got a good story to tell your friends. How'd you get past the Bushmaster anyways? You mean your friend with the big tail and the big spiky arms? Did you guys know those arms are cybernetic? I didn't. Didn't till I cut them off. Oh, you're a feisty little thing. I hate feisty little things. Ah, Sorry, kid, the Serpent Society doesn't usually stoop to killing teens, but you pretty much asked for it. Bushwhack, to perform a sneak attack. Oh, okay. Reality bending in the summer's future bloodlines. Yes, yes. And hey, Louie, welcome. All right, so I'm going to go for, oh my gosh, already went later than I planned on. But I'll go for another 2 minutes, and maybe we can finish this. How long this? Okay, this issue ends here. So we can finish issue 1 of this whole story, and then we'll continue this on Friday. Okay. Gah, what the hell? Hands in the air. Or snake arms, or whatever the hell you got. So Hope is here. This chickie right here now has snake arms. And so she's like, you're sure a feisty little thing. And I hate feisty little things. Sorry, kid. The Serpent Society doesn't usually stoop to killing teens, but you pretty much asked for it. Whack. So Hope headbutts the chick. And I think she picked that up from Cable. Rah. The headbutt. I've never understood the headbutt. Hitting someone with your own head. Doesn't that just hurt you as much as it hurts me? Not true. Not true. If you have a harder head, and also if you're psychic, maybe not. I just disagree on feisty things. I love feisty things. That's Anaconda with the snake arms. I tell you, all of these like super villain guys, I'm not liking any of their names. Bushmaster, that other one, Cottonmouth. Like, come on. I wish there was like a bad guy named Bad Guy. And you're like, all right, just so there's no confusion. Okay, so she's like, okay, you headbutted me. And then she's griping about it. And then Hope just headbutts her again, which is kind of funny. Hey, cut it. Whack. Gah. Whack. Gah. Whack. So she continues to headbutt this Anaconda chickie. Thanks for that voice of one. I don't like her. She's kind of, well, I mean, like, you're not supposed to like bad guys, right? But some of them are cool, you know? Like me. Wump. Next. Puff Adder. She's all yours. Puff Adder. I can see why they call you that. Tell me something, Puff. You wouldn't happen to be a mutant, would you? Yeah? What's it to ya? Well, see, my powers only work on mutants. Your powers? What powers? What the? That's the same power I got. Maybe you'll figure it out after you wake up. So Hope kind of has a similar thing to Rogue without the whole making them go into a coma or touching them situation. So Hope can mimic any other mutant's powers, seems like. Anaconda chickie. That's my name for her. Okay. So she's taken on his powers and punched him back. And then, shoom, I guess Scott came to back her up with Emma Frost. I love Emma Frost. Look at her wonderful outfit here. Looking good, Emma, I must say. Yeah, without touching. And Hope keeps the powers forever. So I feel like that's probably also a key to why she's able to play a part in the resurrection thing. Like the whole concept of the genetic code. There's something there to it, I think. Let's put a little bookmark in that for later. Okay. Shroom. Shoom. Hope? Hope. Hope. That's enough. Huh? Yeah. I suppose you're right. I guess Hope didn't really need any backup. She would just needed some help and not kind of like destroying everyone. It's something sinister guaranteed. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Pardon the pun, or maybe not pun intended there, voice of one, right? Oh, thanks for the heart me. Donnie Donuts. Appreciate you joining. And the roses, of course. Okay, so we're going to finish this, you guys. I know I went late, but you guys are worth it. And it's all part of the divination. I don't ever really know exactly what I'm going to read you guys, but it always ends up being what it should be. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Hope's kind of gone crazy, buck wild on these guys. Like, they're bad guys, but remember, like, good guys have morals. Emma might disagree with me, but pun definitely intended one interloper to another. I love the puns. So punny. Okay. Emma. And then Emma says, oh, I'm going to make this outfit. Look at that. But also, like, these outfits, too, of some of these chicas, it's kind of like, could you really fight in all that? But I guess you're psychic, too, so maybe all of the outfits kind of stay on psychically, too. I know, I gotta finish the comic. I know, today, I needed to, though. Like, I have to tell you, like, sometimes, like, tomorrow, I'm gonna be wrecked because of how late I stayed up, but sometimes I feel it. Like, there's an energy in the middle of the night, like the late night reads, and like stuff comes out that normally wouldn't come out in the day, right? So, yeah, okay. I'm doing this for the universe, you guys, because stories are how we rule the world, and the more of us that are empowered with this intel and how this works, if one of us gets it, we all get it. Right? That's kind of like the way it works. So I hope that as we like share all our intel with each other, we can all connect the cosmic dots and activate. Yeah. We all literally have powers, you guys. We do. It's just everything takes practice. Like, even Jean Grey in the beginning had telepathy, but only developed telekinesis later. So, and telepathy is one of those things, like, how can you prove it, right? Unless you have like these incidents where like you and friends practice. But me and my girlfriends, we were very different people, I feel like. The four of us used to try to experiment with like opening portals and like communicating with each other, or like practicing psychic abilities with each other, because just like any other muscle, it does take practice. It's why the X-Men have like their little danger room where they practice and stuff, right? Because even Superman, in the beginning, you have to learn how to fly, right? Spider-Man, in the beginning, you're like learning how to use your powers. So once you discover your powers, that's one thing. And then there's a whole other level when it comes to like honing them and practicing. Where did I get those eyes? These are my spice eyes, you guys. I wear them when I'm cosplaying anyone who I feel is like very magical and like spicy. Okay, let's power through and let's finish it off. Okay. Cottonmouth tried to bite my head off. I was just back to Utopia, Hope. Now I'll deal with the authorities, and then I will deal with you. I know why you're scared. What? You think the Phoenix is either going to kill me or drive me crazy, or maybe both, just like it did Jean. But I'm not your dead wife, Scott. That is not my story. The Phoenix is coming. I know that. And I'm not afraid. I want it to come. I am ready. Ooh. This is too much pressure, Scott. She's just a kid. No, she is most definitely not just a kid. In the end, she's going to save us all. I know that. Or perhaps kill us all, says Emma. Either way, that makes her something special. And so, I mean, like, that's one thing, to be a savior, be a messiah, and then another thing to live that in an avatar, right? Mad on Fire. Oh, yeah, I love the X-Men too. And this, as I said, it has like Spider-Woman in it and like already Ms. Marvel. And I love all the connections with all these different characters. It's just, it's a way of understanding the greater reality of things, right? Especially the X-Men, the X genes, our genetic code. And just some fun facts for you guys. Astrology is also interlinked with something called the gene keys. We'll maybe do a little bit of that next time. But yeah, your gene keys, you can look up a gene key calculator, and your astrology chart will give you, let's say, a couple of keys where like there's a shadow or a challenge that you have to go through in order for you to activate, right? So it's kind of cool. Oh yeah, the Phoenix Story. I do want to get the Dark Phoenix Saga, and read that, because I do think that the X-Men animated version did that well, like back in the 90s, but I haven't seen a live action capture it. I mean, like, it's complex, right? The Phoenix as a cosmic entity is complex, so perhaps it requires a series, you know, where we get like maybe an episode where it focuses on point of view of each X-Men. Wouldn't that be cool? Right? All right, let's keep going. So Hope is washing her hands off all the blood after she basically beat the ish out of all the bad guys. She knows the Phoenix is coming, and so I guess that's what she's sensing right now. These panels are gorgeous, and that's where we end, actually. It's kind of good that I wore this outfit today, because maybe I'm not Dark Phoenix. Maybe I'm just Phoenix, right? And maybe Jean's part of me, and I'm part of, yeah. Oh, yeah, addiction to more comics. Yeah, so that's a concept, right? Because maybe I'm just Phoenix itself, right? And Phoenix embodies, or rather has multiple hosts. And there's the concept where I was telling you guys, like, on the mic when I was dancing with my DJ hubby, that we were in the White Hot Room, because the White Hot Room is this place in time space where all the hosts of the Phoenix Force go to recuperate. And because time is not linear, like Dr. Manhattan has this wonderful saying of, like, you know, things just always are. Things don't begin, things don't end. As soon as you think it or have it, it just is, always, eternally, right? Even through death. So I think that concept is embodied by the cosmic force of the Phoenix. And as I said, like, creation, destruction are interlinked. And as we deal with Pluto coming into Aquarius, we're dealing with the destruction of old constructs and systems. And so for a while, it may feel chaotic, right? It feels scary and like because especially me as a Taurus, like, you're used to a certain cadence and things of way things go. And so when you're really approaching novelty, it's just kind of like, whoa, what the heck? But it's also because in our world, we've been so conditioned to prepare for, like, the worst. Like, the surprises are never, like, good surprises. It's always like, oh my gosh, like, there's UFOs, or like there's like this, or like we've got a pandemic, or all that kind of stuff. So like this is all bad news kind of stuff. But does anyone remember having like a surprise birthday party? That's fun, right? Or someone throws you a surprise party and like, surprise, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think that so many people, like, I've had that I've had that done for me, like a surprise party for me from friends of mine, and there's nothing better than that. So I want you guys to think of this upcoming cosmic time as that we don't know what's going to happen in the age of Aquarius. We don't know what revolution looks like in this day and age, in this age of technology, the age that, you know, our ancestors dreamed about. We are in it. We are living it. We are the ones that we have been waiting for, right? So when it comes to activation, when it comes to dream worlds, when it comes to being like, I'm a channel, I'm a psychic, I'm telekinetic, I can actually like activate myself to become super strong. I can mimic. I can be a master of disguise. I can pick any lock. So all of this stuff, there is an infinite gamut of abilities open to all of us as a human species. It is our birthright to be magical. Wizards are typically human, you guys, right? In our RPGs and stuff, right? And so we shouldn't discount ourselves as magical beings, no different than fairies or elves or unicorns or dragons. We're right up there as human beings, right? So we have just forgotten what our birthright is. So I welcome you guys to reframe your perception as to what it means to be living in this time, right? And what role you are destined to play, right? No matter if, for me, like 10 years of my life in the corporate world, right? And living out dreams that weren't really mine for promotions and the next deadline and all of that kind of stuff. And then finally being able to take a step back and be like, oh, wait a minute. I'm actually supposed to be making comic books. But how do you come to that? Like, how do you know that? And then like me as a kid, like I grew up with like an Asian mom and a dad who was a professor. We're basically like, I can't tell them that what I want to do is make comic books when I grow up. Are you kidding me? I need to be a doctor, a lawyer, or any of that kind of stuff. Marketing. I was a digital project manager, but then they promoted me and I ended up being like a digital like implementation manager, digital marketing manager, overall thing. So I'm more of a technical person. So I did marketing in the beginning, but my big claim to fame when I was in the work world was being a conduit between the developers, or like rather like the creative team, like say the people who are all doing the work, and the client, and let's say like upper management. So it's, yeah, that tracks. Yeah. So I got super disillusioned being in the corporate world and then finally taking a step back. And my whole team at my big company was actually disassembled. I got into a big fight with the brand team. So I worked for a large global company, and just before I wrap this up, because this is relevant, I think. So I was a manager for 137 countries across the globe, and of those countries, we had like the top 8, right? And it's funny because all these countries behaved like their stereotypes. So for example, the US thought it was like the best and didn't have to do any of the rules that anyone else did, right? UK, kind of snotty too. Also thought that they could do whatever they wanted. Canada just went along with whatever everyone else was doing. Paris, or France, was also had this concept of like pretending like they didn't understand English when they wanted to. And this is like a clever trick of my mom too. I mean, like, oh, I don't understand English. No, you're not understanding on purpose because you don't want to understand. Yeah, that old job title, liaison. Yeah. I guess you could consider me a liaison in terms of that too, but I really tried to protect my team, right? Because it's a lot of interpretation. So let's say a client says that they want something. It's up to the project manager to take what that want is and synthesize it in a way, like, and turn it into action steps for like a software engineer. Like, for example, my sister, she's such a nerd in the sense of, or like such a technical person in the sense of, she doesn't care how things look, like the skin of things. She doesn't care. She's like, well, it works. I'm like, yeah, but it's ugly. The UI is so ugly. She's like, yeah, but it works and it's fast and all this stuff. So I've realized that interpretation is the job in a way. Yeah. Because like, also like you end up with clients too that think like you can just copy and paste everything like paint. So like, let's say you did a design and you got it approved and then you coded it in. And then now the client is saying, oh, I actually want all those to be blue. I'm like, well, you should have brought that up in the design, during the design phase. And if you want those changes, we're going to have to go back and do another round of changes and you're going to have to pay for it. So usually then at that point, they'll be like, oh, actually, I don't want those changes. So it's up to PMs to like push back on the client, because there's nothing worse for devs, or in my case too, like sometimes I had account managers who would promise clients something before checking in with me and the team. And be like, oh yeah, we can totally do that. And I'm like, you can't do that. Doing that, because sometimes when you fix one bug, you cause like 8 other bugs, right? So it's just important as someone who's leading that to like lean on your team, lean on the technical people. And that's also why I love comic books, right? Because you can't make a comic book on your own. Even though you're the writer, like Alan Moore, it's amazing he's been able to find illustrators that can like see what he means in his head, right? And so that synergy between the one who's illustrating and the one who's writing, and also like the writing and the illustration, it's like an Ouroboros with each other, how they feed into each other. Because you may, like for me, writing in your head, you're like, okay, this is how I want the story to go. But what actually needs to be illustrated, right? Like even in like game design, like what part of the games are going to be playable? What part of the game is going to be a cutscene? And does that affect the way that the story is being told, right? So all of these things are all the decisions that are made. It takes like a team, a collaborative community to do that, even if someone else has come up with like the initial spark of an idea. So I think I am all for what that's going to mean going forward, the Age of Aquarius, new ways of collaborating with each other, like, and less of like, oh, this is my finding, it's my credit, I want it to be all mine. That's kind of silly when it comes to something that will benefit the whole of humanity. It's ours, right? And if we can all just, give each other accolades and support and the credit in such a way of like, I used to love doing this at the end of projects where you do the retrospective instead of like running on to the next project. You like give people their wins, like call out when someone stayed overtime to help someone else out to finish a certain task, right? So it's all of that on a whole at a personal level that is going to happen for us. Yeah, I've learned to love Jean Grey in all of her forms. And Jean Grey was probably the best host for the Phoenix because of her connection to the subconscious and ability to have deep compassion and empathy, right? Because our emotions can go one way or in the other. So this idea of being aligned and being in your heart, because, regardless of how enlightened you are, you can still get jealous. You can still